good morning subscribers and welcome along. This is my first upload for probably a number of months, and it's a real delight and a real pleasure to be here at the globalbridge headquarters in Newcastle with my former colleague indeed, Mr. Ben Mason. So thank you very much, Ben, for agreeing to do this morning.
No, thank you.
We look forward to just hearing all about globalbridge in the next 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
So without further ado, let's kick off, Ben. Let's just hear a little bit about yourself. Your days maybe at Emmanuel College might feature in this, and how you've gone from public sector to private sector to serious businessman. No problem.
I started my career as a teacher, working at Emmanuel College. So did four years at Emmanuel, which was fantastic from 2000 to 2004. So got a lot of good. Good friends, good memories, yeah. And actually I'm catching up with lots of ex-students actually in this business world, so from lawyers to business editors in the local papers, which is great to see students that you used to teach. It's fantastic to keep in touch and see how well they're all doing. And then I moved from Emmanuel to Durham School, where I was for 12 years as the Director of Sport and Director of Rugby. So I had a great time at Durham, real top-end kind of national standard sport, getting to the national finals a couple of times from a rugby perspective. So that was great. And then all of those experiences kind of lend themselves to forming globalbridge, or the ideas behind it, and that's then brought me into a very different world to the one I started life in.
Yeah, I can imagine. So how did you go then, Ben, from teaching at Durham School to suddenly having this idea for globalbridge, and we're now sat in your headquarters in Newcastle? I mean, how did that all come about?
So I guess in the beginning it was very much around kind of young people, and as students navigate into applying for university and applying for apprenticeships and applying for jobs, there was this kind of situation where predominantly with sporting talent, students didn't have a platform to demonstrate their skills. So when you apply to university through UCAS, you have 4,000 written characters. If I'm an artist, how do I show my art portfolio? If I'm an athlete or a musician, do I have to put all of those talents into a list of words? And so there was this feeling that all the great things that young people do outside the classroom were distilled into a list of 4 grades or a list of grades on a piece of paper. And there seemed a real space and an opportunity to generate a kind of digital portfolio, as it were, to add to a personal statement to support that process. And then that kind of broadened out to, well, if you're applying to university with this digital profile, why shouldn't you be able to apply for a gap program or an apprenticeship or a career, etc.
Yeah, so it's quite a niche area, isn't it? And I think would it be fair to say that it's sort of evolved over recent years from being something quite narrow to much broader?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I think in the beginning there was this concept around kind of looking at it from a sporting perspective, and then the kind of the idea was actually, and the experience was that we had a number of young people who were very talented at sport who actually had very different aspirations. They didn't want to go into professional sport, and so there was a moment where I felt, well, who am I to pigeonhole these young people into a career pathway in sport? And so actually, the student who's a great musician, who's an athlete, who's an academic, might actually want to drop the kind of sports side and go onto an academic route. So very much the whole concept changed to actually allowing young people to just have a digital platform that would help them evidence their skill set, regardless of what that skill set was. So not defined by anything other than themselves.
Yes. I think it's important, isn't it? You don't just envisage this being something for sixth formers, but you want this to be maybe younger, older, and also carried through and developed through careers. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think the kind of the educationalist in me is around, very much. Well, there was a mixture really. It was predominantly in the beginning around sixth form students looking at university applications, jobs, etc. And then a number of the schools actually said, well, we'd like our younger students to create, I guess, a digital portfolio, a digital record of achievement for all the great things that they do, and actually then be able to see that journey through education and give the young people a platform to record those experiences. And then from a kind of a teacher educationalist perspective, how do we create the best portfolio? Well, you learn how to do it, you learn how to best create it. So actually, why not embed it earlier into education so that by the time a student leaves education, they've actually had time, rather than last minute. There's those students out there, I'm sure there's none, who prepare their UCAS
don't leave anything to the last minute.
Yeah, well, that's it, exactly. So actually, if we can help them create that profile earlier and build the best profile of themselves, everybody is in a better position. Failure to prepare is preparation to fail.
Outstanding, yes. No, you've obviously been going for a few years. How many years is it that you've actually been up and running?
So I guess it's, and this, from a business perspective, when do you define your starting point? So I first had the idea in October 2012, not that we're remembering dates that specifically. But then kind of dotted around and floated the idea around a few people over the space of that next year or so. We then kind of started the process of getting in touch with developers. Ultimately, we launched, after a pilot year, we launched the kind of first version of the platform in September 2017. Okay. So a couple of years since we've kind of pushed a live version out there. So so trying to define, you hear lots of people saying, businesses succeed, it's kind of 5 to 7 years is that kind of sweet spot, and 94% of startups fail in the first 3 years. So we're in that sort of 6% of anything could happen from here type period. But those are kind of the dates.
So October 12 and then 2017. So it's quite a long sort of lead-in phase.
That initial, the lead-in phase, and that's you kind of, that's the idea. I probably sort of sat and thought about it and didn't do anything about it for a good sort of 6 to 12 months. But these things, in my mind, it's been quite a long time. But then for people who have kind of involved in the business now, the accelerated period is actually this is moving really quickly, and I'm a bit like, feels like forever.
It feels like a longer journey for you, I guess. Okay, so in terms of then user numbers and maybe businesses on board and all that type of thing, since September 2017, do you want to just say a little bit about how that's progressed? Because I know it's gone well.
Yeah, so we've got a reach of around about 65,000 students currently.
Just UK or global?
Well, we've actually
globalbridge.
Well, the aim is obviously to put global into globalbridge. We do have a school in Portugal on the platform. We had an approach from a couple of schools in Spain. Actually, for us as a business and as you grow, you've got to make sure that you're able to deliver to your customers, and so in that kind of growth period is you accelerate too fast and you don't look after people, etc. So we actually made a decision to kind of scale back more north.
Built in the northeast.
In the northeast, and so although they're on the platform, they're actually just using the platform. They don't necessarily receive the kind of the level of support that the schools in the north or the businesses in the north. But they are, they're very aware of that. They're excited to be part of the journey. And it's great for us to have them on. So I guess we've got an international reach, if we're being specific, but we're heavily focused on the North, UK. Yeah. The model itself, lends itself to, if I'm looking for a career, I go to a school in the Northeast and I'm looking for a career in the Northeast, great. Why shouldn't that digital connection help me see a career in America, in Australia, and that's that's very much the vision is around. We want to take the blinkers off young people's eyes.
That's the beauty of it, isn't it?
Yeah. So a big reach of students and increasing. A big saturation of schools in the northeast have signed up to the platform. Moving into the northwest, Edinburgh, Glasgow, we've got some work with a number of schools down the spine of the country, so through Bedford, Worcester into London. Expanding nicely, but it's a real kind of
tricky
fine line.
balance of that.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And what about then in terms of students watching? I'm sure in terms of businesses involved and sort of who you could sort of immediately kind of network them with.
Yeah, so we've got some really exciting businesses. So one of the events that Emmanuel actually came to recently was our Globalbridge Future Stars event. The whole purpose of that...
Sophie and Manisha, obviously.
Exactly, yes. Winners of our entrepreneurial competition, which was fantastic and a great idea as well, which we're obviously hoping to do a little bit more work with moving forward. So the Future Stars event was to connect students, not just giving them visibility of careers that are out there, but actually helping them recognise what those employers do. So, is GSK just about pharmaceuticals? No, it isn't. It's massively around software development. Their big recruitment needs are around developers. Whereas traditionally everybody's viewed, those who know what GSK do have thought it's very much around pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
So for Globalbridge, it's about breaking down those misconceptions of businesses, but then not just saying this is what this business does, but giving you as the student a chance to connect with that opportunity. So actually not just seeing it in a shop window, but actually being able to connect and showcase what you can do. So we've had some great examples off the back of Future Stars. So a number of students over with Siemens, with NG, Barclays have been getting really well connected. Virgin Money have taken a number of students on some days to give them visibility of what they do.
I think we're really lucky, aren't we, as well in the northeast, that all these big local businesses are really keen to help and bring students in.
100%. Yeah, I think from businesses that are out there, pretty much all of them have said we want to be able to engage with education. We want to be able to engage with the next generation of our workforce. And you think about it, always bring it back to a sporting analogy, maybe Manchester City's recruitment policy probably focuses on trying to find all the best 10-year-old footballers across the world, and then that sort of pyramid of kind of talent. It's exactly the same for any industry. Why wouldn't a business want to find the next best 17-year-old who's going to be the next best engineer, or pharmacist or business analyst? For them it makes absolute perfect sense for them
and
to
using your platform.
Obviously.
I think that using your platform, that is the ideal way, isn't it, to bring those two parties together?
100%. And I think that the big thing for us as well in the platform is that actually our platform focuses on you as the student. It's about putting you at the centre of this entire process and saying, well, if you can showcase what your talent is, then you're going to be able to make that visible to the employer, who is desperate to find what you can do and find you as their future employee. So it's not about what there's lots of things out there that give you visibility of opportunities. For us, we're putting the student at the centre of it and then putting all those connections off the back.
Yeah. And what about therefore in terms of maybe just students who are watching and thinking, I like the sound of this, but have you got a couple of maybe good examples of real success stories?
Yeah, we've got some, and actually coming out pretty soon. We'll be pushing out on our social media channels and various channels some really exciting case studies that have gone through Globalbridge and have been associated with Globalbridge. So one is a young man who's recently got a professional music contract with Sony out in LA. So that's going to be a real fantastic one. He was actually part of our pilot year on Globalbridge. Another one of of an international surfer. He's only 14. He was the Scottish under-18 surfing champion at age 12. He's also one of the youngest big wave surfers. So he's just created his profile on globalbridge. And we've got a great case study which is going to look really good. We've got ones around business, but then some really good ones in the past. So a student in particular was interested in doing law, got offered some work experience at a North East law firm, but then also offered a place to do law at university. So a really good example of that kind of education and career pathway, both being married up. So you think about the experience that you learn doing work experience at a law firm and then go and do it as a degree, and actually that contact with that law firm all the way through is exactly what globalbridge is about.
That's exactly what you need as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Particularly in law, actually.
Yeah, and I think coming back to your question earlier about where globalbridge younger and older, so the purpose of globalbridge is that a student takes the profile with you beyond school. So you take it to university, it helps you with the interns and placements prior to graduating, or if you go to an apprenticeship. So we're working with a number of companies around their apprentices, creating profiles to help evidence all of the skills they've learned on that apprenticeship, so when they maybe go to apply for a job. But it's really to give you a digital profile in those younger formative years as you progress through education and the early stage of your careers and beyond.
Yeah. Great. I will obviously put links down below here, Ben, with regard to globalbridge and Instagram and Facebook and whatever social media that you're using. So maybe just then to close for today, I think there's lots of things I'd like to ask you about running your own business and all that type of thing. Maybe we can do that at some point in the future. So schools, students, businesses who are interested in getting involved and want to be part of this, what's the best route in for them?
Basically just to get in touch. So we've got hello@myglobalbridge.com. There'll be obviously all the social media links that we put on the bottom here.
Or up there or somewhere
around here. But just to get in touch, for us, we know that there's a huge network of talent out there. There's a huge network of opportunity, and quite a disconnect between them. And I think for us, it's always been around the kind of disparity in education. So some schools have got a great network of opportunities for young people, but not all schools.
It's very mixed, isn't it?
And for us, it's around levelling the playing field of opportunity. Giving all young people access to the same chances. Just to get in touch. But for us, we've got a huge building network of young people, as you've heard, of universities. Heriot Watts University just agreed to sign up as a development partner last week, which is fantastic. And then of some outstanding businesses, particularly in this next couple of weeks, you'll hear some really big names that have
stay tuned for further information, I think, on that one. Right. Okay, well, that's been great, Ben.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. This has been, Ben, you're my most recent guest on Conomics Meets, and I've been doing these for a number of months now, so thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
Stay in touch, everyone. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Didn't realise, sorry.